All right, Metcalf, 30 and 30, baby. We're getting close to the end of the finish line, folks. We're approaching, I believe, almost less than a week until college basketball season is back. So 30 and 30 presented by No Ceilings. Today, we're going to Tucson, Arizona Wildcats. Another talented freshman, Koa Peat Metcalf, who Arizona has listed at 6'8", 235. You know, we talk a lot about some of these prospects. What do they have as, previous accolades? Koa Peat's won at every level too. He's been a talented player. Going to be, in my opinion, I think he's going to be a puzzling evaluation this year because you see the talent, you see the tools. I think you're trying to see what's the fit going to look like, projecting him as an NBA player, like what's his role, his type going to be specifically. So let's start positive. What gets you excited about Koa Peat? He's made some noise playing for Team USA with FIBA. He obviously had a decorated high school career with Gilbert Perry High School in Arizona. What do you like about Pete this year? What at least gets you intrigued from the get?
The physical tools and how he uses them are a lot of fun on both ends of the floor, especially when you combine it with his aggressiveness, especially getting to the rim in transition, on cuts, out of the pick and roll, that kind of stuff. He's super effective. Like, he's not the most explosive athlete that you've ever seen, but he's got some power. He's got speed. He's got a bit of finesse and body control as well. And when he wants to finish with power, he can finish with power. When he wants to finish with finesse, he can finish with finesse. When he wants to swat your shot into the 10th row, he'll do that too. So I'm just, the way that he combines his aggressive mentality with his well above average physical tools creates a lot of really, really fun, like, holy crap moments when he plays.
He's a fun prospect because you could see just how quickly he can be an impactful piece on the court. And then the more you dig into, the background and everything, you get really encouraged. His dad, Todd, played in the NFL, was an offensive lineman. He's got 4 brothers who played college football and 2 sisters played college basketball. Very athletic background with the whole family. And then, you see that on the court when it comes to like his toughness, his frame. He's got an NBA ready frame and he hasn't even stepped on a college court for an official regular season game. But I think it's just with Pete, what gets me kind of pausing is more of is this someone that's going to transition well to the modern NBA game, or are we looking at like the 1990s power forward, the Horace Grant mid-range special, or the Charles Oakley types? It's like you gave a great pro comp on one of the No Ceilings podcasts to me because I'm an Arizona Wildcats fan. You were like, hey, is this going to be Derek Williams or is this going to be Aaron Gordon? Won't get out of my head now, so I appreciate you saying that. But that's what I want to see with Pete this year is you see what he can do around the basket. You see, the toughness, the garbage man mentality. Like he can be active in that mindset, but it's the shot. It's always the shot, Metcalf. We always say sometimes it's just a shot. How are you going to be able to develop that way? So besides just that shot, like what else do you want to see with the shot developing this year, and what other parts of his game are you like, okay, I'm a little concerned, or you're just alerted of wanting to kind of see how it comes together this year with Arizona and Tommy Lloyd?
Yeah, no, I'll stick specifically on offense now since we're on that end of the floor. The shot is obviously the big one, and I think it might be kind of broken. But there's just so many inconsistencies with his release point and just like the angle of his hand and how it comes out of his hand. So I don't expect him to be an awesome shooter this year. If he's more willing from outside, that and we get a little more volume and possessions where he just doesn't even bother looking at the rim from outside, I think that would be more encouraging. But what I would like to see, and I think is more realistic to see from him this year, is a big leap in the passing. And that's kind of where we get into the Aaron Gordon side of the comp, where Gordon's turned into a really nice connective passer out of the short roll and transition, out of drives, that kind of stuff, where he doesn't have to be a primary playmaker. But we've seen flashes over the last year, 2 years with Pete, where it's like, man, when he wants to, he can really collapse the defense and then find those shooters on the weak side. And, playing with a big like Krivas and really dynamic downhill threat in Jaden Bradley and really fun off-ball shooters like Del Orso and Aristote and Burries, there are going to be a lot of those opportunities where he's going to have good spacing, going to be able to get into the middle of the floor. And if he can be a little more consistent or willing as a passer to just make those simple kickouts and throw those simple lobs, that's going to get me more excited, because that alone, just more diverse playmaking set from him, is is really going to diversify his offense and put defenders on their heels of like, oh, wait, crap. Can I help on this drive? Do I have to stay home? Or is he just going to rise up and shoot in the mid-range contested every single time, regardless of how many defenders we send? Or if we start doing that, is he going to start spraying out to these 40+% corner three-point shooters? And that's where defenders really get in trouble. And by doing that, now Pete gets to go abuse one-on-one matchups, which is always a good thing for him.
I think you're spot on, because it's just, okay, well, you kind of understand the idea of Koa Peat right out of the gate when you're watching film. But I think this year is watching at Arizona, you're just like, okay, what's the next part that we're trying to unlock? We could say, I think it's an open canvas right now. If you're evaluating, you're like, is he going to turn into a solid defender? Is it going to be the playmaking? The shot, I understand where the questions are. And I think a lot of people have a lot of questions with that. It's a little funky from the mid-range. And then when you get to stretching that out, you're like, well, what do you expect? It's not going to all of a sudden just be beautiful from out there. So the Aaron Gordon and Derek Williams thing really sticks in my head, because it's spot on. If you have familiarity with that Wildcats program, if he can unlock as the playmaker, I think it does open up a path of like, hey, Aaron Gordon with the Nuggets, where it's like, hey, when he was with Orlando early on, you found out after a while it wasn't going to be the guy. So then all of a sudden he goes to Denver and can be a piece alongside your star, where you're like, now you really unlock the potential and how he can make an impact, and as a connecting piece with upside that could really, focus on his specialty with his game and not try to be something that he's not. So it's not slander to Koa Peat. It's just more trying to be like, how does this fit at the next level? And you could argue too, like, hey, if it has some questions, he might go a little later in the draft to a better spot than, being picked way too early. And it's, hey, we want you to be the guy. You're not that. So he's going to be a fun one this year. He's, like I've mentioned before, he played with FIBA plenty of the years with Team USA, 2025 FIBA U19 World Cup. He averaged 12.6 points and 6.9 rebounds. I think in that showing, we saw a lot of like, oh, he's just bullying his way to the basket. High school, senior year, he averaged around 18, 10, and almost 5 assists per game. So there's production, there's versatility. I just want to see it now at the next level when it comes to college basketball, and going to be tested right out of the gate. They play Florida first game of the year. Welcome back, college basketball. So last thoughts, Metcalf, on Koa Peat. Is there anything else with his game that you're like, hey, I'm still intrigued, but I'm just waiting to see how it comes together?
The defense, and pretty much all of it. Because in high school, like fundamentally, I thought he was a disaster. And a lot of that is what we tend to see from awesome athletes in high school. Most high school kids are bad defenders. So this isn't total slander on him on that end of the floor. But when he locked in, and the defensive playmaking stuff was always fun because of how athletic and powerful and aggressive he is. But the little things were non-existent. And when he went into, when he played with Team USA and FIBA, it was much better. Is much more disciplined, is much more consistent, still struggled a lot with fouls and that kind of stuff. But the better structure around him led to him being just a more competent and consistent defender. Was that a one-time tournament thing? Was that a real growth? Was that context? I don't know. I'm hoping it's a step in the right direction and that we see more of that at Arizona, because Tommy Lloyd's a terrific coach. And if he really does lock in and commits to the defensive end, now again, we're continuing to trend more towards that Aaron Gordon type of outcome, where he's able to defend multiple guys on the floor and be super switchable and crash the boards and be a big time defensive playmaker. If he really leans into that end, I get way more excited. But if we see more of the sloppy closeouts and handsy defending and an upright stance that leads to fouls and jumping at every shot fake, then I'm going to get concerned. He has the tools. I think he's a more than smart enough player to do it. But again, we just got to see it.
We talk about it all the time. We as much as we like evaluating prospects, we also have to take into consideration, like, where are they going? Did they land in a perfect spot for them? I think it could be, when you look into Pete and you see some of the parts of his game that need to get worked on, it could be a perfect fit for him playing for Tommy Lloyd, because Tommy Lloyd is going, they had an unbelievable defender last year in Carter Bryant. It still wasn't enough to be like a starter. He was like, you got to earn your minutes. You got to be consistent. You play team basketball. And I think with Carter Bryant last year, you saw the playing start to get the trust start to build when it was really clicking. I think with Koa Peat this year, they have more of a younger team this year with some vets. So I think they're going to have to get these freshmen to play. Braden Burry's winning Arizona. Pete's going to be fascinating, because right now I want to buy in. But I'm like, is he a tweener? Like, is he a 4 that is trying to be a 3? which is, it happens sometimes. And tweener's always the scary word. And, you know, evaluating is like, I'm trying to figure out what position could he be at the next level. But, you know, I've talked to scouts and everything, and they're like, if you could somehow get Peat to a team that's in playoff contention, they'll be doing a backflip. They will be so pumped just because of that type of role player that could really still have upside to figure out. So I'm gonna be excited to see. But Metcalf, this was another one down. Koa Peat going to Arizona, gonna be a fun team to watch this year. We're marching on with 30 and 30, one prospect every single day. We're almost done, Metcalf. I know you're probably regretting it now, but we're so close to being done, baby. and then what happens? What's our gift at the end of the tunnel? The start of draft season. So check out the No Ceilings NBA YouTube channel. One prospect every day for me and Metcalf will be breaking down. We're getting to the heavy hitters now, folks. Also, breaking news. Go to NoCeilingsNBA.com. The preseason NBA draft guide. 60 prospects, in-depth analysis from our whole team. Player comps, pros, cons, anything you could want. If you want to get ready for this draft cycle, which is going to be a legendary one, you want to go check out the No Ceilings draft guide. So thank you guys for your support. We'll be talking to you very soon. Take care.